pose many new challenges for the next commander-in-chief. The last two presidents pursued a Middle East policy that supported toppling dictators to try to promote democracy. Senator Cruz, you have said the world would be safer today if Saddam Hussein were still in power in Iraq, Muammar Gaddafi ruled Libya, and Hosni Mubarak ruled Egypt. So would it be your policy to preserve dictatorships rather than promoting democracy in the Middle East?
Well, if I believe in an America-first foreign policy, that far too often President Obama and Hillary Clinton, and unfortunately more than a few Republicans, have gotten distracted from the central focus of keeping this country safe. So let's go back to the beginning of the Obama administration, when Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama led NATO in toppling the government in Libya. And they did it because they wanted to promote democracy. A number of Republicans supported them. The result of that, and we were told then that there were these moderate rebels that would take over. Well, the result is Libya is now a terrorist war zone run by jihadists. Move over to Egypt. Once again, the Obama administration, encouraged by Republicans, toppled Mubarak, who had been a reliable ally of the United States, of Israel, and in its place, Morsi and the Muslim Brotherhood came in, a terrorist organization. And we need to learn from history. These same leaders, Obama, Clinton, and far too many Republicans, want to topple Assad. Assad is a bad man. Gaddafi was a bad man. Mubarak had a terrible human rights record, but they were assisting us, at least Gaddafi and Mubarak, in fighting radical Islamic terrorists. And if we topple Assad, the result will be ISIS will take over Syria, and it will worsen U.S. national security interests. And the approach, instead of being a Woodrow Wilson democracy promoter, we ought to hunt down our enemies and kill ISIS rather than creating opportunities for ISIS to take control of new countries.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Rubio. You supported the removal of Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. Now that country is in turmoil as ISIS is clearly growing there. Senator Cruz says you haven't learned your lesson. Do you have any regrets for supporting President Obama's intervention in Libya?
To begin with, Muammar Gaddafi and the revolt against Gaddafi was not started by the United States. It was started by the Libyan people. And the reason why I argue we needed to get involved is because he was going to go one way or the other. And my argument then was proven true, and that is the longer that civil war took, the more militias would be formed, and the more unstable the country would be after the fact. As far as Muammar Gaddafi is concerned, by the way, Muammar Gaddafi is the man that killed those Americans over Lockerbie, Scotland. Muammar Gaddafi is also the man that bombed that cafe in Berlin and killed those Marines. And you want to know why Muammar Gaddafi started cooperating on his nuclear program? Because we got rid of Saddam Hussein. And so he got scared that he would be next, and that's why he started cooperating. Look, we will have to work around the world with less than ideal governments. The government in Saudi Arabia is not a democracy, but we will have to work with them. The government in Jordan is not perfect, but we will have to work with them. But anti-American dictators like Assad, who help Hezbollah, who help get those IEDs into Iraq, if they go, I will not shed a tear.
Senator Cruz?
Well, it's more than not shedding a tear. It's actively getting involved to topple a government. And we keep hearing from President Obama and Hillary Clinton and Washington Republicans that they're searching for these mythical moderate rebels. It's like a purple unicorn. They never exist. These moderate rebels end up being jihadists. And I'll tell you whose view on Assad is the same as mine. It's Prime Minister Netanyahu. Prime Minister Netanyahu has said Israel doesn't have a dog in that fight because Assad is a puppet of Iran, a Shia radical Islamic terrorist, but at the same time, Prime Minister Netanyahu doesn't want to see Syria governed by ISIS, and we need to focus on American interests, not on global aspirations.
Everybody stand by for a moment. Governor Kasich, go ahead.
I don't understand this thing about Assad. He has to go. Assad is aligned with Iran and Russia. The one thing we want to prevent is we want to prevent Iran being able to extend a Shia crescent all across the Middle East. Assad's got to go, and there are moderates there. There are moderates in Syria who we should be supporting. I do not support a civil war. I don't want to be policemen of the world, but we can't back off of this. And let me tell you, at the end, the Saudis have agreed to put together a coalition inside of Syria to stabilize that country. He must go. It will be a blow to Iran and to Russia.
We're going to talk about Assad in a moment. Mr. Trump, are Americans safer with dictators running the world in the Middle East?
In my opinion,
Go ahead, Mr. Trump.
in my opinion, we've spent $4 trillion trying to topple various people that, frankly, if they were there and if we could have spent that $4 trillion in the United States to fix our roads, our bridges, and all of the other problems, our airports, and all of the other problems we have, we would have been a lot better off. I can tell you that right now. We have done a tremendous disservice, not only to the Middle East, we've done a tremendous disservice to humanity. The people that have been killed, the people that have been wiped away, and for what? It's not like we had victory. It's a mess. The Middle East is totally destabilized, a total and complete mess. I wish we had the $4 trillion or $5 trillion. I wish it was spent right here in the United States on our schools, hospitals, roads, airports, and everything else that are all falling apart.
Thank you.
That is exactly what President
thank you.
Obama said.